Taylor.
Oh, okay.
Taylor Hadden. How did this happen? Wait, Taylor. Wait, did we just hit a time machine? Like, did we just fast forward or like go back? Like, I can't tell. Like, it's been 3.5 years. What have you been up to? Taylor, tell me really quick. How did we meet?
Well, now I remember because you reminded me, but yeah, at a rave.
Yeah, it was a resolution, I think, going into 2016. And I was filling up my water bottle, and I just remember saying, I was like, hey, how's the night going? Because we were both filling it up, and you're like, well, it's going okay, except, one of my friends, like, not doing so well, and I was with my friend Wade, and you asked if we would talk to your friend to, like, help him through a tough time.
Oh my gosh.
I don't remember that
part.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Oh my gosh.
And so that was really great, and that was, I talked to him for a little bit, and you also, like, helped us have a really great night. That was like the beginning of Wade and I meeting up that night and having like a really awesome time. So that was it was a very precise moment for me that night. Then, Taylor, you're here 3.5 years later because you've been doing some pretty inspirational things.
Aww. Thank you.
Taylor, to me, you're kind of like a motivator, a healer, and kind of a medicine woman to me. I know. Has anyone ever told you that?
Yeah, I guess. It's something I feel like I'm still like cultivating and waking up within myself. Mm-hmm. But
when was kind of the first time you kind of saw that?
Just through my own personal healing. And I've always been like, throughout my life, I've always had a theme of like people just sharing like their life story with me, like right when I meet them. And I never really like, it was just so normal for me that I didn't really, like it didn't faze me. Mm-hmm. But then like, as I got older, I realized that that's not true for everyone. Like people just open up to me in certain ways, like pretty quickly. And I just kind of noticed that, that theme. And then that kind of, triggered learning new knowledge about like where that stems from or like why people might be doing that. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so just through my own personal healing and from my experiences with other people, I just started having this like realization that, wow, I think I really am here to like support and, uplift and help elevate people, and help, like offer spaces and guidance in healing. Mm-hmm. I think that like everyone has their own journey of healing, and people can be healers, but ultimately like we're our own healer. And so I would never be like, oh, I'm healing someone, but because that comes from the person. Yeah. But I think that like I'm here to be of assistance and mm-hmm. like of offering spaces and just resources of accessing healing.
Beautiful. A facilitator.
Yeah, facilitator.
Of healing.
Thank you. Yeah.
Absolutely. It's very apparent to me kind of just what you've been posting recently, and I even attended your workshop last night, which we'll talk more about, that being disconnected from yourself and your body seems to be a very big theme for you. Mm-hmm. And when did you kind of notice that you were disconnected, and how did you start to reconnect with yourself?
Well, so disconnection from my body had been a theme of my most of my life. And there was an event that occurred around like 2017, 2018, that really was like a catalyst for a lot of my transformation, but, and recognizing these things about myself that needed these like deep wounds that needed healing. But leading up to that, most of my life I suffered from body dysmorphia, which is so it's like basically just seeing literally seeing yourself, whether it's like an image of yourself or in the mirror, or just how you are physically like looking at your body or feeling your body. It's like morphed. It's either totally not accurate. It's very like self-harm, negative self-talk. This is just my experience with it. And just a lot of like really harmful, mental behaviors, and then that leads to self-sabotaging behaviors. And so that would be like my major disconnect, but I didn't even really know I knew I was aware of it, but I didn't know where it stemmed from, what I needed to do to heal it, and that other people also experience this too. Like this is a very like common thing with people.
Could you give some examples of those kind of negative self-talk patterns, and maybe some parts of yourself that were kind of, you were experiencing this more maybe?
Yeah, just being really harsh on my physical appearance. Really like disconnected from that there's so much more than just our physical appearance. So like very attached to like how I looked, how other people perceived how I looked, what my like weight, was like, just lots of comparisons to like other body images. And so, that would be reflected if I wasn't being upheld, like in my mind, if I wasn't, upheld to those standards, I would just be really down on myself. It would prevent me from like, going out and socializing, or, and there was a point in my life too, where I was just like extremely unhealthy. I was extremely overweight, just like not, and I wasn't happy physically, with the performance of my body. Like I just wasn't like being healthy, like not just by appearance, but, just like internally too, all of it. So, anyway, so it was like, I forgot what I was gonna say, but
in the realm of patterns of negative self-talk, like
so,
an actual
so
sentence,
going,
like boom.
So, I don't know. I don't like. It's hard to say an actual sentence, but it would just be like, just not like, it was just down, like just not nice. Like I don't know. It was just like, I'd focus on things that. Imperfections about my physical appearance, or I just literally could not see myself. Like it was like
just like multiple points, like all, like if you looked in the mirror, it'd be like, whoa, like overall, like that point. There's like this little thing here, this little thing.
Exactly.
Like you mentioned in your post recently, like you knocked your nose on the chin-up bar. I see it right now. You just got like this little spot.
It's
and like
healing really well.
It's healing really well, and you said like this in the past would have been something that you would have focused on.
For sure. I mean, because it had like the first day it happened, it was like a dent. Like it was like, I was like, there's like a chunk of my nose gone. Like I'm good. I don't know if that's good. I think I might just have this like thing in the middle of my face forever, and like whatever, like I have to deal with that. But it just was like a reflection of just there's people with really severe disabilities, and every day they cultivate like self-love for themselves, and it isn't it comes from so much more than our physical form. And if that had happened in the past, it would have been like, I think, a lot more challenging to deal with. And I was just so hard on myself.
And so like you also mentioned like how it would affect how you took care of yourself, and then it would kind of make you in a state of like you knew like you were overweight, like in an unhealthy way for yourself.
Yeah.
Would it be that that kind of seeing yourself in this way was more of like a self-hatred, thus like I'm useless, like I'm not worthy of like even a healthy lifestyle kind of stuff?
Yeah, it was, that self-sabotage, and it really was like, because my confidence was so low, I wouldn't go after like, you know, things I really desired or certain goals, because I just like, I did not have the confidence in place to like, you know, connect with certain people or put myself out there in certain ways. Like it just affected so much in my life. Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. And then I just would notice like, you know, like those behaviors just lead to like more, you know, because it all stems from within me, because I didn't have like self-worth at the time, or like a higher self-worth. Then I was like attracting people who also matched that. So it was just like people and circumstances and like, you know, what I was putting in my body, because, you know, if you're like depressed, you know, it's easier to grab like, you know, this junk food rather than like, you know, go make this like more high vibrational meal for yourself or whatever. But it's just like I was just stuck in this pattern of like toxic self-harm and habits, and
And so it sounds like also with those people that you would be attracting that were also kind of in that kind of negative headspace, or maybe was there kind of a example of a relationship that was this person was a very healthy like individual to have in your life, but the self-sabotage kind of like ended that relationship or dampened it? I
mean, I definitely like, don't get me wrong, I had like you know, I've had amazing people in my life throughout my life no matter what, and you know, I've still, you know, cultivated, you know, positive healthy experiences, but just the way I just like moved about everything, I just felt like was like more ingenuine, or I was like hiding like from these like truths, or I'd be in situations where I felt like my judgment of others was like way more amplified, and I didn't want it to be. Like I was like, I don't want to judge these people, but it was like this conditioning really deep within me, and it just came from it stemmed from self-judgment, and it was just like reflected on these people. But so I mean, I definitely had like struggled with like romantic relationships because you know, and I mean, I think those relationships would have ended regardless. Like they just weren't you know, they weren't serving me past certain points, but I definitely like, there were like toxic habits that I had towards myself that then reflected onto that like relationship, and you know,
if it might be helpful for certain people to hear kind of like some of one of those actions were, so they can potentially, if someone can see that in themselves and kind of bring awareness.
Well, one thing was like I had a relationship where I just felt like it was really easy for me to just like constantly point out like negatives in the other person, or like constantly like show dissatisfaction with things, and just like kind of like nitpick or like pick apart the other person, and like just I mean, and you know, so, and I mean, like sometimes it would come as like, you know, verbal abuse, not like, you know, not like, I don't know how to explain it, just not healthy things, and not things that I would ever want to, like now I would never want to like say to another person, you know, and it's just, I recognize that it just stemmed from an unhappiness within me. But at the time in that relationship and not recognizing all of these things, it's just like it comes kind of out as like blame on the other person of like,
Yeah.
oh, this person isn't good enough, or this person
Yeah.
isn't doing this thing that I want them to do. And, you know, I'm kind of like, it felt kind of like we're in this thing, we're like trapped in this thing, codependent, don't know how to get out. So we're gonna like just kind of keep going in this like toxic cycle, and I'm just gonna, you know, like, yeah, just not treat them how they deserve to be treated.
Right.
Yeah.
I can totally see how getting trapped in that cycle of nitpicking or of blaming of things that it's not this, it doesn't sound like a collaborative effort on potentially communicating like more wants or needs, like in like maybe a much more compassionate way. There's like because in the simplest experience that like everyone can relate to, like someone doesn't do the dishes right away or something, and it's like, oh, this person always never does the dishes right away. You never do the dishes. Oh my god. And instead of potentially the compassionate way of like, maybe I noticed that like the dishes aren't done very very quickly right away or something like that, and I could be like, oh, like, are you open to like doing the dishes like like maybe sooner than after being using them or something like that. That like that languaging right away doesn't come from like this blame place of like, oh my gosh, like I'm harboring resentment. It's just like, oh, I noticed, like, oh, would you be open to this, like, and it's like not potentially like holding the person in this way of like they can't, I see them in this way and it's negative and they can't escape it. Like it's just like, oh, that's a behavior. Like, let's see if we can work on that behavior together.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and so like I'm glad you're able to see that, like, where it stems from, this idea that the dissatisfaction from within then is externalized and then put on to someone else. And so that sounded like that leaded as you were kind of and during this time with the body dysmorphic disorder, was there anything that was helping until this like moment you said in 2017, 2018? Like what would kind of be the maybe the coping or the band-aids or something like that?
I mean, I just was pretty unaware of what it was. Like I just hadn't had you know, after that recognition of it, I started seeing a therapist, and I mean, there are other events and catalysts and you know, healing that came into my life that opened my eyes to it. But I just feel like I was just like unequipped to like handle it or transform it. And
just that, if anything that was like in the realm of like a band-aid or sort of helping, it sounds like going to therapy and some other transformative experiences have been helpful. And so, but that was still leading up till 2017, 2018.
Yeah, so the band-aids would, I think, just be like any sort of escapism. So for me, like food was a really big one, like eating my feelings and like sex with you know, seeking out love through sexual connection and seeking out love through a romantic partner, you know, versus like cultivating that for myself, and then, you know, finding a relationship that just adds quality to it.
Nice.
But yeah, and then also like partying. I went through a phase where I was doing like cocaine, and
Taylor had a cocaine phase, everyone.
And no, I'm like, cocaine, no, bad. So yeah, I don't just, you know, like just not doing the work within, just escapism through, you know, just always trying to like find happiness in these other things. And Yeah, and cocaine is not a place to find happiness. I have learned.
That's.
I mean, sometimes
that's what I hear. That's what I keep hearing.
It's
this,
happy at first, but also.
I have kind of dated someone that had a cocaine addiction. So I've seen that. I've seen that firsthand.
It's scary.
Very, very lucky that I never. Still to this day, and don't plan on doing cocaine. But
oh my god.
Did you kind of like, you kind of mentioned like finding that love like through sexual connection? Did you then kind of like put? Do you believe like your view on like sex was skewed kind of at that point then?
Oh, for sure.
Like
100%. I mean, just my yeah, just, I mean, I think just the way I viewed relationships in general was completely skewed. And I mean, a lot of like that all stems from childhood upbringing and my relationship with my parents and, you know, and their relationship. And, but yeah, so yeah.
Would you find yourself, because I've been learning more about the different, how trauma can affect others in relationships, and I read that there is, one of the ways that trauma can show up in relationships is this idea of being rejected, then accepted or like taken back, or like
by the same person.
Yeah, like over and over again, like creating that like conflict cycle, that rupture, and which I'm not saying that rupture can't be a thing in a healthy relationship. Like if there's like a catalyst for something that needs to change, like, and then people come back together. Not saying that, but like that there's this rapid cycling kind of experience.
Yeah, that was like the theme of a lot of my relationships.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Okay, look at that. We got it.
Yeah, it was bad. And it's not good. It's not healthy for either person, you know? So, and the people I was with too were also, you know, they were also repeating these, like, that was, you know, a pattern for them too. So it's like, right. You know, something we both like, you know, it was just that, it's that codependency and just, yeah.
Wow. Wow. It's just so wild. It's always amazing. I'm just amazed at how far I and others can come once and I have like committed to the path of healing. It can be so much faster than you think. Because it's been blowing my mind, that's for sure.
Yeah, it really can be like rapid. You can make rapid progress, but then there's also, for me, what I realized too is then there's to know that healing isn't just like, it's not a one and done.
Yeah, it's not a destination.
Yeah, like sometimes I still do have you know, like triggers that will come up, or like trauma that comes up around these things, and where I'm like, oh, I thought I resolved this. I thought we were good. Like,
yeah.
You know, or I'll meet certain people, and something about that connection will, like, you know, spring up a trigger or a trauma, and where I'm like, or maybe it's like a test from the universe, you know, where I'm like, okay, like, we still have like work to do with this, you know, but.
Absolutely.
But at least the awareness is like there now, you know. Whereas
there's definitely very much a before. There's a before and after.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And do you mind talking about what this big moment that happened in 2017, 2018?
Yeah. So going back to the cocaine game,
here we go.
the partying. Yeah. I mean, and I wasn't like nutso about it. Like there are people that are way more like, you know, I've seen, but. Just for me and like knowing myself, it was an unhealthy balance. You know, I think like, yeah, I just knew it wasn't serving me. But basically I was depressed and I was anxious. Again, it was like one of those things where I had this most of my life, and this is from like other past traumas that just were never addressed or healed. And so it was just like, you know, this unknowingness of I was just constantly like depressed and just kind of going through life motions thinking like, oh, this is normal, you know, I'm just used to this. And then falling into these toxic, patterns and behaviors. And so it really came to like a climax in around like 2017. I was going to a lot of shows, and I was, I would do Molly, and I would do like mushrooms and LSD, and not like a crazy amount, but I was doing them often enough to where it was like, like consistent. And then I started hanging out with this group of people, and they did cocaine like every single weekend. And I mean, they were super fun, of course, super fun. They were good people, but they had some really like bad behaviors, and I also adopted those behaviors. And I went into a relationship with a person who was also struggling in the same ways I was, I believe. And we were both just, unconscious of it. And he had a really severe cocaine addiction that I was totally unaware of. Like, we were like partying, and it was like this thing, but it was like, I don't know, I was just so naive to it. Like, it was so new for me. I was just like, having fun. And then before I knew it, it's like, there's cocaine every time we're like, going somewhere, or like at an event or a party or whatever. And then all of a sudden it's like, we're going to like the beach, and we're just having like a day, and there's like, gotta have cocaine. And I'm like, then I really, and then also our relationship through that became really toxic. And we were doing that whole like, we'd break up, and then we'd get back together, and then we'd break up. And it was just became super, volatile and abusive, and then I was trying my best to like do the right thing, get out of it, but it was just, again, these like unhealed parts of me that just kept coming back to this like really toxic thing. And again, I mean, there's so much more to it. Like, I had abusive tendencies towards him too, but he also was like, very like manipulative and abusive, and like had a very severe drug addiction. And he was narcissistic, and, I was just totally like, I was so depressed, and I was in such a dark place that it was like impossible. It felt impossible for me to like actually get out, because that was like my only source of like love. He also like he really played into like, my physical appearance. He also really suffered. I realized this like through therapy, that he also really suffered from, body dysmorphic disorder. And so, but he would put me down, and he would, comment on my physical appearance a lot. And so that just totally, just again,
like a negative way, he would like.
Oh yeah, like I mean, sometimes he would compliment me. Like, it's very, very strategic. Like I learned is like it's kind of hard to explain, but like, so he would build me up when like it was serving him, like whether it was like sex or to like get his way, like for what we wanted to do for the day, or just any way it could serve him, it would like, or if I was like, gonna walk away or be down, then he would like, oh, here's this love, here's these compliments. But then a lot of the time it was like these little chipping away mechanisms, and a lot of times it was on my physical appearance, and so that just like ate away even more with my like already like lowered self-esteem. So then what happens is, like, in this abusive pattern, you're then so suppressed and so like mentally depleted and down on yourself that this person is like your only source of like happiness, and they have like control over you. It's total manipulation. But so to get out of that relationship just felt impossible. And basically what happened is it came to a halt of we had this like really terrible night, and there was cocaine involved, and he attempted suicide in a really horrific way, and I ended up finding him the next day, and luckily he survived, but it was like it was like probably the craziest thing that I've ever experienced in my life. And it was like, like how am I here? Like, how is this my reality right now? Like, I just found my, like, at the time partner, like, literally, like, sliced open, like, on his bed, like, almost dead. And, like, he's just totally gone, like, totally checked out. And, like, and what? Like, this is my life. Like, why am I creating this for myself? Like, why am I doing this? And so, that, I mean, it was inevitable at that point. Like, I was so traumatized from that event. I had, like, such severe PTSD, and depression. I mean, I was then super suicidal, and, and yeah, it just, like, triggered so many things for me. But luckily my family stepped in, and I was able to see a really awesome therapist. And I mean, it was still, like, it still took me time to, like, heal and move on from that relationship. But, like, I literally couldn't even go to bars or be around people, like, drinking for a while, because I would get so triggered around, like, just thinking if they were doing drugs, or I just
like it's like almost like you like experiencing like, oh, like, can I even trust that these people are just here drinking?
I didn't feel safe, like, anywhere in those environments. I just it was like so it's almost like my PTSD kind of, like, saved me in a way, but it was like,
interesting.
It also like put me in, like, an isolation phase for a while. But yeah, I just kind of, got to that point of, like, okay, I'm done with these things. Like, I'm not happy. I'm so fed up with feeling this way. I'm so sick of, like, viewing myself in this way and continuing these toxic self-harm patterns. Like, I want fucking more for my life. Like, I deserve more. And so just going down that path, and, it wasn't easy, and it's, I still have to be conscious of it, but it, like, like, it's so worth it. Like, it's absolutely. So, my life is so much better. Like, so I'm like, it's just, but it's hard to see how much better it could be when you're, like, stuck in that mindset. Because
you didn't have as many, it sounded like you didn't have as many people to even, like, look up to see, like, wait, like,
I
like,
was just hanging out with the wrong crowd.
Exactly. It's like if you had, like, maybe, like, one friend in that scenario that you would see every once in a while, and you'd bring, like, oh, my life's like this, it's like this, and this person's like, whoa, that sounds, like, really hard. Like, I mean, I'm doing pretty good. Like, you can see, like, I don't know, like, my partner's over, pretty often. Things are going great there. Got some friends. I went on this trip recently, and you're like, why is your life so stable?
I think it too. I was, like, always seeking this excitement. Like, I was just always trying to fill this void within me of, like, I need the next, like, exciting thing. Like, I just,
like, that awakens the nervous system.
Yeah,
and stuff.
Like, I just wasn't content with just, like, just being in my, like, life, or, like, being in peace, or I don't know. I just always needed it. It's like that cocaine, probably cocaine brain.
Maybe cocaine. It comes back to the cocaine.
It's just, like,
quite a bit.
I just need more. I need this cooler experience. I need to, like, go to this show, or, like, be with, I don't know.
Right, yeah.
And I was around, and then my circle was that, like, it was just, like, these people who were pretty restless, who just needed that, like, more, but it's not actually, like, serving you deep within.
Exactly. So it sounds like as you were, like, kind of reconnecting and dealing with, the trauma, the PTSD moments, and reconnecting with your body, when did you discover ecstatic dance?
So I discovered ecstatic dance much before that, probably like, I would say like 7 years ago, maybe. But my connection with it has evolved tremendously, and it had always been something that I would go to, and I found a lot of, like healing in it through working through, anything that was going on in my life. But once that event occurred, ecstatic dance was like really the only, so I had actually disconnected from ecstatic dance for a bit during that phase, because I was like with these people and they were they were going to like clubs and
the cocaine crowd, I'm guessing isn't the ecstatic
like they love to dance,
like
but not ecstatic, not sober and not ecstatically, but so I had lost touch with ecstatic dance during that time, and then I rediscovered my connection and passion with ecstatic dance, because it was really the only place that I've had an outlet to express myself in these ways, to like get down and
how would you explain ecstatic dance to someone, like get them a little up to speed as we're talking about
so to me, ecstatic dance is a sober movement of self-expression, and because you're sober, you're actually able to reach this state of ecstasy naturally in your brain, through like the chemicals that are being produced through dancing and through movement, and it's moving meditation, and you're just ecstatic. but it's just, I think for me, like when there's not those distractions because typical ecstatic dance guidelines are no talking on the dance floor, respecting boundaries, consensual dancing. You're really here to have your own individualized experience. You're sober. No cell phones. And so if I didn't say that already. And so you're really present in this moment, versus like being at a club, you're usually focused on like the DJ or like these other people or alcohol. And so you're going to a club to like have this really fun dance experience. But when you remove all those factors, you can really tap into like this potent medicine of dance, and connect with yourself on this really deep level, and connect with your body and your energy flow, and then also these other people. And so it's just this really, for me, a really healing, transformative experience, that is like probably, I would say, like my number one mental health practice.
And I don't know, I found ecstatic dance because of Burning Man, and that's a very specific kind of place that I had to go to find it. And what could you imagine it helping the world if like maybe one person just listening on this podcast that has never done ecstatic dance like tries it out? Do you think it's like potential to like really make a potential change in life? If it's your number one way of like for your mental health and processing things and releasing and coming back within yourself, like I don't know, why not, gang? Why not try it out like out there? And so kind of what have been maybe just a few moments that you've noticed like something big come up, or like a big transformation through that experience?
Well, I would say like the biggest, like why it's been so transformative for me, or what I've experienced with it, is that when I first started going to them, I was really uncomfortable. Like I was really uncomfortable. I would go and each ecstatic dance is different. So each community of, is different where you go. And I was going to ones where there was this like formed community and everyone just seemed so comfortable in their bodies, and I was not comfortable in my body at the time. And I always enjoyed music and dance, but I was not comfortable dancing in a room full of people like this without these masks on, of alcohol
Ooh, I love it.
Yeah. And so just really like having to be present and just being like comfortable with like being uncomfortable, and through just going back each time, and also being inspired by these people who were there. Like, it was like, wow, they look so free and they look so like just joyful and just in touch with themselves and comfortable. So it's like seeking that basically, and being like, I want that for myself, kind of kept me coming back. And it's like, I think anytime you do a wellness practice that is truly beneficial for you, whether you recognize it at the time or not, your body and your mind and your spirit recognizes it, and it will continue to call itself back into your experience. I think if it's truly good for you, and that's what ecstatic dance did for me. It was like, it just felt like something I just felt called to keep experiencing. And just over time, just showing up, I just got more comfortable. I would start moving my body in different ways, or I would play with like certain energy and like mind body connection, work and whatnot, like through my dance, and just through that process of just showing up, and I just got more comfortable, and then that would transform into like being more comfortable with in my body, in my day-to-day life, and just gaining more confidence. And I would say ecstatic dance, like I think the biggest takeaway for me has been the transformation of my confidence and my and my just comfortability in my body and the way I move, and to not worry, because I think a lot of lack of confidence comes, for me at least, comes from fear of judgment of others and what they're going to perceive of me. And I also notice this theme with a lot of people in dancing, is they're like so worried about what others are going to think of them dancing. And I think that's why going to like a club can be really easy for people, because they've got this alcohol or drugs or whatever to like take their mind off of it. So when you show up to an ecstatic dance and you don't have those things, I think initially your mind goes to, oh my gosh, these people are like watching me, or what if I do this thing? But it's what's beautiful about ecstatic dance is that literally no one cares, no one's there, everyone's there for themselves. So if you can just get out of the mindset of thinking like people are watching me, and get into the mindset of like, no, actually everyone's focused on themselves, and we're here to have this like really cool experience, then it like totally takes the pressure off, and you can actually like enjoy yourself. And so anyway, it's just like then you can go other places and you're just like so comfortable, like, because you're just it's just practice, you just get used to it,
and I love that confidence. Like, Taylor and I haven't ecstatic dance together yet.
Not yet.
And yet, like all of your posts, especially on Instagram, like I love seeing other people just dancing, and especially doing ecstatic dance, because there's so much that I learn from seeing other people do things. I'm in like the movement community in general and stuff, like the Ito Portel kind of stuff, and like there's so much like watching and then copying and stuff. And even like this was like a great example, is like I saw your twerking video, and that was like so dope, because you even like mentioned how it was like, oh, it's like good for the root chakra, it's like shaking off worrying and like doubts and stuff. And I just really, it made me immediately, like after being like, this is a great video, and like I need to start twerking more.
Hell yeah.
Like, I was just like, what if I did a video where like I recorded myself and like my butt like,
oh my God,
jiggling, like that could be some good stuff.
Yeah, that would be some
really good stuff. And so like it's amazing seeing that confidence come through just so clearly in your posts. It's been amazing. And so like it's just a very much like a testament to working, like starting from a place of body dysmorphia disorder. It's like, and whoever's like watching on YouTube right now, it's like we got Taylor right now, very beautiful human, like duh. And so like how is it like the whole range of like what you've gone through is just so inspirational, like so amazing. Like and now what people don't know yet is that Taylor puts on ecstatic dances in Tacoma.
Yes.
And how did that start happening?
Because I'm obsessed with ecstatic dance. Yeah, and also because, I mean, so Tacoma does have a conscious dance that happens here, and there is a community here, but I'm just someone where I just love bringing people together. It's like where I just find my like passion and heart. So, and just cultivating a space to invite people into. And for me also, I love going to different ecstatic dances, and I've traveled and been to different ones, and they each have kind of their own unique component and community. And so I just was really inspired. Like I want to create my own, you know, I want to cultivate, you know, this new community. And also something for me is, I just noticed sometimes I'd go to ecstatic dances, and sometimes the way they're structured can turn some groups of people off who maybe are not new to this world. You know, a lot of times there's just a lot of like, you know, people might call it like hippie or just, you know, different practices that maybe aren't as accustomed in Western culture. And so it can, I think, really sometimes turn off some people, and I just don't want to do that, because I think ecstatic dance is like truly medicine, and so and an amazing experience that I want people to feel really welcomed into. So and also I love going to like dope ass shows, and I just really wanted to blend those two worlds and kind of create an ecstatic dance that felt just like more modern and really welcoming to anyone, no matter what like level you were at, and yeah, just kind of bring like a new element to ecstatic dance, blending with like that kind of club aspect, but in a sober, you know, safe environment.
Yeah, so kind of I'm guessing there's kind of always DJing live, like instead of maybe playlists.
Yeah, exactly. That's really big for me.
Because then it's like, oh yeah, like there's like the person's on instead of like this music's playing and like I don't know where it's coming from. Like who's controlling this stuff? Are there things being like thrown in live? Like, and because I could see that contextually, because I know the first time I did it, and I was at Burning Man, you know, of course, so I'm already in very much the open mind, but I was not used to it's a floor, music is playing, and people aren't talking. I don't know why people aren't talking, you know, like, but
was that your like first ecstatic dance experience?
Yes.
Oh, cool.
Yes, and so I just knew like yeah, exactly. I know, right? Yeah, that's it. It was a great introduction, but like, and like the music was a little more like, I was like, this is pretty different than what I'm normally used to, and so I could see, and I know what I've kind of brought recently to my community and my like ecstatic dance set list was kind of that merging of like my like kind of very vast knowledge of electronic music, but also knowing where kind of the spiritual intertwinings can come to play in that realm, which I know like more people that I know that haven't joined, you know, the ecstatic dance movement basically, would kind of want to have to feel kind of more like comfortable, like dipping their toes in more.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and that's the other thing too, is that with ecstatic dance, the and why for me it's so important to have a DJ who's connected to and understands like the flow and intention behind ecstatic dance is that the music is such a powerful tool to move us through different emotions or just movement. And so if you have someone who really understands the potency of that flow and how you can like help move people through this experience with sounds or certain tones, like it just has such a bigger impact than just like listening to just like good, like you can just listen to good music, but if you experience an ecstatic dance with a DJ who is well versed in understanding how to like evoke certain emotions out of the dancers and guide them in this like journey, it just becomes like you're just like so that's really important for me, is at least with the ones I'm hosting is like making sure that connection's there. Yeah.
That's great. That's great that you've taken it to the next level with that. And it's called Ecstatic Dance Tacoma. Awesome. And I'll be posting the links to everything in the description and stuff. Yeah. It's just so great. I'm so excited to see where all that goes and to be a part of it and to collaborate on things. It's so exciting.
Let's go.
And I just want to like also bring back to your workshop that you held yesterday in Green Lake, and what I've loved through my research and through the course that I've created and when I'm coaching others is doing journal prompts and like kind of like a guided meditation. Ooh. And last night you were also serving cacao, and I would love to your your kind of intro for those that don't know what cacao is and how it can be used in kind of more ceremonial experience and help facilitate transformation as well.
Yeah. So cacao it's chocolate, but it's sacred chocolate and special. So it's a plant-based heart-opening medicine. It's really good so it's slightly psychoactive. It's not like gonna get you like high, like if you were to take, like mushrooms or something, but there are different dosages of it. And it's really good for, it helps evoke creativity. It has a lot of magnesium in it, so it's just good for brain function. And yeah, it's just beautiful. They say there's like a spirit of cacao, and so it's really important to where you're sourcing your cacao, making sure that it's from an authentic source that respects the cacao, and then also that when you're using it, it's really powerful to set intentions with it and treat it as like a medicine. And so like for instance, the example the intention we set last night, or what I really like to set is where I kind of want the cacao to help in my body, which is usually focused around my heart, to help open up my mind and my heart, my body, to cultivate loving environments, experiences, interactions, feelings and thoughts, and then always giving gratitude to the cacao too. And those are just what I do. You can find sources on YouTube, and there's other people who do work with cacao and can teach you more about it. So, but you can use it in your day, like literally every single day, and like it's really great for like a morning practice, setting an intention with it and just doing like journaling, meditation, music, and then you can also use it in like a ceremonial way as well with like a group.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's great to know that it can be used every day. I could almost, as you were saying that, I almost thought of people that might be trying to transition off of coffee or caffeine.
Yeah,
because that was actually my first time last night taking
cool.
cacao, which is really cool. Like,
Yay,
I thought
how was it?
I loved it. I loved it. I love that you offered to take it straight, and because I love to take things straight, just to like experience that. Like, I'm just like, I want the pureness of that experience. And I could totally just experience, I experienced kind of like a lot of warmth and just kind of like, even like kind of another layer of gentleness, I would say. It is just like, just focusing on that like heart opening. It's like, my heart's definitely like pretty darn open these days, and still like coming on to like more gentleness, like more letting go some of the things that we wrote down in the realm of what were the drainers. It helped me like kind of like let go of the drainers / like give like forgiveness to them, and be gentle with that, and almost in the realm of because we did what was it? It was 10 things that we love about ourselves. Then 10 drainers, 10 energizers, and then 10 things that we dream / desire. And I loved how I was able to on each one, especially, you know, starting off with the like things that I love about myself, like just bring like, this, like, I would like when I would read them and write them down, I was able to have like an extra moment of like pause and like almost like savoring like that of those moments. And then especially once we got to the end of like dreams and desires, I think I shared that I was able to access like new parts of like the dream, like forward future manifestation stuff, because like I felt like I was more tapped into like the feel, like you mentioned at many points, like the feeling of what it would be like to have that. And that's what I've been kind of researching and reading lately, is tapping into the feeling of what it would be like to have that thing, or like live that moment. And so I was just definitely seeing how like cacao could help aid in that experience of feeling into that future manifestation, that life.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's just like once we're able, and you can open your heart in so many other ways, you know, there's like, which we also did last night with breath work, affirmations, meditation, movement in the body, like, you know, yoga. I mean, there's so much you can do to open your heart center. But cacao is just really a nice assistant in that, of like, you know, just opening. And then when your heart is in this open space, that's really when things just, I mean, your heart is the key to like all of divine manifestation, I believe. And so when we're open like that, we're open to receiving, we're open to visualizing like a grander picture, and it's more limitless. And it's just, I just feel like it's just open heart and open mind is just, you know, allows so much amazing possibilities.
That is so great. I think that was one of the most diverse hour-and-a-half workshops I've ever been a part of, and I love that. I love that about workshops.
It was the first one, so I'm glad you
nailed it. You nailed it.
That you.
It's like,
thank you for being the test.
Yeah, totally. I mean, when I put on my first hour-and-a-half workshop in June, what I loved, what I also kind of had this intention of like packing it with multiple different ways of different journalings, of like education, some movement, some dance. I loved when we kind of slowly started rocking back and forth. You started like, cause like I've been, you know, well versed in ecstatic dance for a while now, and so I'm like, I drop in like real quick, and I'm just like, but I could see how some others might not know how to experience that as well, and it was like such a great, gentle emergence and nurturing of that type of movement. And
yay, cool.
So awesome, well done to that as well. And you'll be doing that in Seattle for every Wednesday for the next coming little bit.
Yeah, definitely. I'm also looking for space in Tacoma. So
sweet.
Yeah, just developing these and being able to offer them
awesome
to more people.
Yeah, that's great. And Taylor, why is it important not to drink tap water anymore? Like what is drinking tap water? How is that holding us as humanity back?
Because the government's brainwashing. No, I'm just kidding. I mean, a little bit. I'm kidding, but
she's just the right amount of kidding right now.
Well, so there's a lot of stuff that's like put into our tap water that to make it safe to drink, but
she did an air quote.
But it's actually. There's actually some really harmful stuff in it for us, like chlorine and fluoride and other sediments and harmful bacteria. And there's just, and even in living in Washington, we actually have like really good water compared to, I mean, our water is soft and much more clean than if you were to go to like California or Arizona, where it just like looks and tastes really gross. At least our tap water, it like tastes pretty drinkable, you know. But if once you're able to not drink tap water anymore and you can find a pure source, you can really do a cleanse in your body and your mind. And then I think once you're able to have that shift, you can really realize, oh my gosh, this thing that I'm consuming every single day is actually aiding in a lot of disease in my body. And, you know, even if you're a healthy person, your body could be functioning at just such more optimal health if you were to find a better source of water. Yeah.
And so, like, what are options out there? We got, I know I drink spring water. There's, like Berkey water filters are one. There's potentially, like, buying bottled alkaline water.
Which that's, like, a whole nother topic.
That's a whole nother topic.
I mean, we should talk about it, but yeah.
But, and then I just want to know
really
that
marketing.
Yeah, for sure, right? There's, what was this other one that I had? It was something with a, like a fuel in it. I'm not remembering at this moment, but just giving like also a chance to talk about the water that you prefer to drink, just to, because I didn't know about it before you were posting about it as well.
Oh, cool. So Kangen Water is the water Seth's referring to. That's my preferred water source. I'm totally obsessed with it. So Kangen Water it comes from a medical grade water ionizer. They're made in Japan, and it attaches to your faucet and it filters out chlorine and other harmful sediments. It does filter out some chlorine or some fluoride. If you want full fluoride out, then you would just need to add a pre-filter, which is really simple to add on. But what's so special about these machines, they're different than like reverse osmosis or spring water. It actually puts the water through a process of electrolysis. So the water becomes alkaline with a higher pH, which is highly detoxifying for the body, and it also electrifies the water. So it's almost the same effect. It's like the same effect as if lightning were to strike water.
What?
Like it literally mimics that. Wow. So, right. So it changes the molecular structure of the water. It makes it abundant in molecular hydrogen. So this water is negatively charged. It has a high negative ORP, which is really important.
ORP?
Yeah, so it, what is it? I forget what it stands for. Oxidizing reduction potential.
There it is.
Oxidization reduction potential.
Oh yeah.
And so like if you look at like sports drinks or pop or even like Dasani, like bottled waters, they actually have like a positive ORP and you want negative.
Ooh, okay.
And our bodies, we need more electrons. And so you want a negative ORP. So this water is negatively charged water. The molecular structure has been changed. So it's microclustered. So the water molecules are actually smaller. And so they can penetrate your cells and give you optimal hydration. So mostly anyone who is not drinking this water is experiencing dehydration or their body's in a high state of acidity, just from the foods we naturally consume, even if you're a healthy individual. So this water is antioxidizing, it's anti-aging, it's anti-inflammatory, it has a surplus of healthy minerals and benefits, and it's just incredible. Like, it's literally transformative, and I believe like truly healing, and high vibrational water.
Awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool.
That's so fantastic, and I just it'll be great to know that like you guys can hit Taylor up for more more information about this. I'm just learning about this, and I've just only in the last year have become like more kind of obsessed with the water that I drink and more careful, and how it's another element of cleansing and
Totally.
being pure. It's like when I stopped drinking alcohol, I stopped having caffeine, I like stopped like smoking weed, I like stopped drinking soda. I stopped drinking soda a long time ago, but like but still it's like every new layer of keeping my body like cleansed and pure has been so huge, and like and even though the effects might not be felt right away, that they do like just start to gradually come in, and it's like, oh my gosh, what a difference that this has been made for myself. So I'm really excited that you're sharing that with the world. And also, is it like made from a guy named Dr. Kangen or something?
Dr. Kangen.
Donkey Kong King, Donkey King. Yeah.
No, but there's actually the doctor who invented the colonoscopy. He like prescribes his patients to drink this water before a procedure because of how highly detoxifying and cleansing it is. And I mean, there's tons of other doctors that are like that. I'm actually, I have an interview with a naturopath who also recommends this, that his patients drink this water. And you can like go online and you can search like Kangen water and whatever, like, health thing or issue or disease, and there's so many testimonials, like especially with like eczema or depression, anxiety, fibromyalgia, migraines, like cholesterol, blood levels, it really helps with that. I mean, weight loss, like it's just totally balancing, and it's the more I learn, and I'm still learning about it, but the more I learn about it, I'm just like, oh my gosh, like that just makes sense. And for me, I mean, we are water, like depending on, your body type and your age and all that stuff. I mean, you're about like anywhere between like 70 to 80%, if not more, like water. And our minds too, it's like 83% water. And so if you're dehydrated, I mean, water is literally, and good water, not just any water. It's like the basis of our vitality. So, for me, I'm like, oh my gosh, I've had spiritual experiences with this water. I'm like, wow, this is like, if I know I'm doing like one thing right, it's drinking this water, because, it's just amazing, like what it does for you. So
awesome. Yeah, that's so great. I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy to know that it's out there, and like, wow, naturopaths. And I know, gosh, like even like I know that I just know people that have like that microfiber.
Arthritis.
Yeah. And fibromyalgia. And I think about maybe recommending it to them. We'll see.
Oh my gosh, yeah. And like anyone that I've come in contact with that has a machine, like we just want to share the abundance of this water because it is so life-changing that it's like, you know, like I have this machine, so I have a surplus of this water, so I'm happy to share it, you know what I mean? So it's like I just want to help improve others' health and lives in any way that I can, and I believe that this water is a direct source to that, and so it's like I'm just happy to share it, you know? It's like if you want it, you know, it's here, and I just know so many people that are like that too, and I mean the machine also does other cool stuff. It produces different types of water, and so there's like a beauty water, which is really great for plants, and you can wash your face with it. It's helped heal a lot of, just drinking the water and doing that has helped heal. I used to have really bad cystic acne.
What?
Yeah, so it's like, yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing for skin and hair, and yeah, it's so good. But yeah. So, and then, yeah, it also, there's other ones that replaces like household cleaners and like degreaser. You can wash plants with, or vegetables with it to remove pesticides.
Oh my gosh. Some of my roommates said that might be really good for.
Yeah, it's amazing. So it's like, and then also you're not consuming single-use plastic water bottles ever. So it's just incredible. Yeah, I'm just like,
wow. Okay, that's so exciting.
Kangen
Yeah,
Water, hit me up. Yeah, hit me up. I'll get you. I'll get you some. Yeah.
Yeah, that's so great. Taylor, is there anything in the realm of self-love that you also would like to share? Like anything else that like comes to mind that might be beneficial for someone that's having a hard time out there loving themselves?
Yeah. I just think that I think for me as someone who is on this journey of, you know, always just trying to develop more self-love, and coming from a place where I would say hardly any, at a point, seeing other people practicing self-love was really like, it just seemed like this unachievable thing, or like it just seemed like, oh, these people are innately born with this, or, you know, I was always like, oh, they just have good families, or they just have been brought up in these ways that have supported them in that. And I'm sure, you know, that's true for a lot of people, but what I'm discovering is that, you know, you are the only one that can change your circumstances, that can like save yourself. And by just wanting to have, like, just wanting to better your life in any way is the greatest act of self-love. So even just like having the thought of wanting to shift, I think is to just acknowledge that is self-love. Like, so you have self-love, it's in there, it's in you. And it's just about this journey, and it's just taking it day by day, step by step, and just slowly uncovering this love that is within you. It's in with all of us, but it's just been, if you're lacking it or you're not feeling it at the time, it's only because you've been either raised or conditioned or traumatized to like not be in touch with that or not recognize that. So if you, I don't know, I'm just encouraging that, you know, if it's something you're struggling with, or you just don't see how these people feel this way, I think the biggest takeaway for me is that it's something that can absolutely be learned and trained in yourself and practiced, and it's a process. And you know, I think just by taking any sort of initiative, it just recognizing that is a huge form of self-love. and just going from there of like, oh, I do love myself, you know? So.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Taylor, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences, your knowledge, your wisdom through what you've learned, and that you are expanding love, and that you are love, and that it's only spreading the positivity. So,
Hell yeah.
thanks.
Thank you.
What a treat, Taylor, everyone.